Hello and welcome back to Katawa Shoujo. Last time we got yelled at by Shizune's dad for breathing his air, and now we are doing something else. And apparently we went to an amusement park and ate somewhere nice, but we didn't get to see that. They just told us that that's probably what was happening. Also, I'm looking at this picture on this wall again, and now that I know what Shizune's dad looks like, who is this? Why would he have a picture of someone else getting married in his guest room? That's so weird. It's definitely not him. Look at him. He's blonde. And he's got a round face. Jigoro doesn't have a round face. He got a very sharp face, and he's got a very freaking otaku looking hair and vibes. I've been neglecting my sign language studies, so I should probably spend more time studying up on it. Although I think I've learned a lot just by osmosis. I'm very proud of that, and will have to be careful not to brag about it. I mean, you've been using the language. The best way to learn a language is to be using it. Most of the books I brought with me aren't manuals on sign language, but studies about different signing dialects. I know Shizune has some secret signals with Misha that only the two of them know the meaning of. After seeing a couple of them, this book caught my eye in the school library. Maybe I should incorporate some examples into my own signing to mess with them, because I'm pretty sure that they have started using their code words more when I started learning sign language. That will teach them. After a quick break for a shower, I resumed practicing my signing in the guest room mirror. Yesterday I crossed my fingers against each other pretty hard. I crashed my fingers against each other pretty hard. It still smarts, and I don't want a repeat of that to happen again. I hear knocking on the door behind me and turn to find Hideyaki standing inside the doorway, staring at me, menacingly. How polite of him to knock, but usually you don't open the door first. What are you doing? I'm practicing sign language. How long have you been standing there? Long enough. I did not see anything. That isn't the point. I don't even know what he means by that. It's not like I was doing something that I would be ashamed to have people see me doing. Although sign language must look strange to most people. I'm only used to it from being around Shizune and Misha so much. I'm brushing up on my sign language and reading it out too. Stuff like the history of it, even though they cover it in sign language class. Your school teaches sign language as a class? Yeah, one of the first things they brought up was that it's not very common to do that. I guess we're very international or something. It looks fun. Well, I wouldn't call it fun. If you do not enjoy this, it seems like a lot of work to go through just to talk to my sister. Yeah, she's a drag. Why would you want to talk to her? Why does everyone keep saying that? Hideyaki's mouth twitches like he was about to laugh, but he restrains himself. Come to think of it, he hasn't laughed once since I've met him. I could take it as a compliment that he doesn't laugh at me, but I'm curious to see it. Laugh. Laugh now, child. Why? It was the fastest and most direct way I could think of towards accomplishing my goal. Can you teach me sign language? He says it plainly, but his body is nervous, showing that he clearly needs to put some effort in to ask. I guess Hideyaki likes his sister after all. I think Misha is a lot more approachable though, so I wonder why he didn't ask her. Secretly I'm shouting yes inside. I had thought he wanted to learn sign language and even brought it up, but he had evaded the subject skillfully. It turns out I was right after all. I don't really know why this makes me so pleased. Sure, we'll just be some bros, learn sign language together. But now that I think about it, I'm not a sign language teacher. I don't even know where to start. In class I'd be learning stuff gradually over a week. Does Hideyaki expect me to teach him anything usable in a day in a one-day crash course? Why my mouth no read? My teacher spent a couple days just giving a history of sign language. I decided to start off with that to buy some time while I figure out how I can segue it into the hard stuff. 5 minutes in, Hideyaki raises his hand. I don't understand what you are doing. Well, you can't just jump into teaching, you know? You have to ease into it. It's like when you go swimming. You don't just jump in the lake like in some movie. I do not swim. It's like scientists managed to create a process to suck out all the hyperactive, infuriating, and childish qualities of a small child and then implant them into a dad, creating a raging jerk dad and leaving behind Hideaki. What? Hold on, my brain needs to process this sentence. Okay, so they took all of Hideaki's childish traits and then sucked them out and put them into some dickhead. Got it. I begin to feel claustrophobic, despite the fact that the guest room is 3 times bigger than my dorm room and there's just 2 of us in here. It's all in my head, I know it, and I don't care. I still use it as an excuse to move the lessons outside. Wow, they have a full, labyrinth garden in their backyard? It's a lot easier to concentrate out here. Even the precious few seconds it took to relocate managed to allow me to sort my thoughts. There were no questions during this time. Hideaki can't seem to talk and walk at the same time. Eventually, however, I start to realize that if I'm going to teach him anything, I have to keep the lesson constantly moving. The second there's an opening for it, he'll ask a question, which will lead to more questions. Then there's no end to it. Just like, that sounds like a child to me. The second time he asks me why a certain hand motion means what it does, and I have to reach deep into my memory to look for etymology I don't know about a gesture. I have to look deep into my memory to look for etymology I don't know about a gesture I only knew about a month longer than him. I start looking for an out. Hideaki, let's take a break. Okay. What is your school like? This kid is like a little reporter, but it makes sense for someone his age to be curious. And this is one question I don't mind. Well, what's it like? I never really thought about it. It's on top of this mountain, so it feels kind of isolated and lonely up there sometimes, even though that's also why it has a pretty great view. The students there are interesting. Actually, I felt bad at first. You know what kind of school it is, right? Yes. And I felt bad because I didn't want to go there. I don't even remember exactly what I was thinking at the time. Probably it was something like, a school for crippled people. That would be a depressing place. They were telling me to go be forgotten there. Then everyone there was just living their lives for the most part, so I felt even worse. It wasn't different at all, so I felt like kind of a jerk. Shizune was the first person I met. She's in most of my classes, Misha too. They're always together. I guess the school is accommodating even enough to pair them up as much as possible. There's this girl in my class, Hanako, whom I feel bad for. She has these burns and seems to have a complex about them, but I think she looks fine. She's a cute girl and friends with Lily too. You know Lily, right? Does she bring up Hanako? Yes, sometimes. I'm trying to remember who else is interesting. We have a little track star ace who runs on these prosthetics. There's this one girl, Rin, who doesn't have arms, but she's a great painter. All her art has this harsh, alive quality. Have you ever been to Yamaku? You've probably seen some of it hanging around. A little weird sometimes, but I've always heard that artistic and creative types are like that. That reminds me, the guy who lives across the hall from me is pretty weird too, but he can be interesting at least. He's interesting in the way that a train wreck is interesting. Like, how did that even happen? They're on rails. You are also interesting. Aw, thank you. Is that bad? And what's with that tone? What does that even mean? Are you saying I'm weird, Hideaki? Are you saying I'm weird? You talk a lot. My first instinct is to go on the defensive, but the more I think about it, he has a point. That's right, I do talk a lot. I don't think I used to. I think it's probably because of all the time I spend around Shizune and Misha. Talking with them, I get caught up in all their circular logic and just how they do everything. I feel like I'm going to be drowned out or left behind. My sister can drown you out? It's not like she's literally talking over me and stuff, obviously. It's hard to explain. They have more energy than I do. It's like an aggressiveness. I don't feel like I have to, I don't feel like I have to match it, but I want to. I think maybe your sister has that effect on people. Hmm. Do you look up to your sister? No, she's a bitch. He stares at me blankly, tense and confused as to how to react to the question. I will be better than Shizune. I am the better version of Shizune. I have born last and I have been extracted of all of my childishness, making me the superior being. Better at what? At everything. Like what? Hearing. I can do magic tricks. You mean like telling people you've got their nose, or more like the kind of magic where you pull a rabbit out of your ass? He doesn't look happy. Someday I will see Hideaki laugh. I might just try tickling him if I have to. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Papa's home. The back door flies open and Jigoro strides out of it, keeping his back straight and taking giant, slow, regal strides like either a king or a huge jackass. I'm gonna go with the jackass part. I try to turn away, using the train of logic that if I can't see him, he can't see me. Unfortunately, it doesn't pan out, and he comes over so fast it's like he appeared out of the air over my shoulder. Oh ho, what's up here? What are you two doing? Flailing your hands around? Playing cat's cradle like a bunch of females? Ha! How did you have kids? You talk like an incel. I'm teaching Hideaki some sign language. What about you, Mr. Hakamichi? He narrows his eyes suspiciously, as if he's not used to people being polite to him. I'm writing an autobiography of my life and times, and by writing I mean I am dictating it to my biographer. Unfortunately, she is running late. Unprofessional! Perhaps you should read it when it is published later this year. I can put you on the waiting list. Maybe it will give you the moral compass you seem to lack in your life, and inspire you to stop sucking. I hate this man. Oh my god. It can't be sustainable for him to be so casually insulting to everyone, though Hideaki is lightly too detached to even notice. Shizune is deaf, and most of the insults must fly over Misha's head, but surely Akira must have an opinion on this. And she's not here. I try not to think about it. If he is doing this to psych me out, then I have to stay calm or he wins. He must absolutely, definitely not win. This must be how Shizune feels. How old are you? Nunya. 46? That doesn't seem old enough to justify writing a biography. I mean, that's not even old. Don't most people start writing their memoirs a lot later than this? Well, I've just done so much that if I don't write it all down now, then I'm gonna forget it. Shut up, boy. I'm going to give you advice. Do not talk about matters of age with people older than you. You are less than half my age. You have no right to talk about old. I have an ulcer older than you. I believe you have ulcers, sir. You're too much. He should get that checked out. He might have a point, though. He is definitely older than I am, and more aggressive. Either way, even if we were the same age, I wouldn't have to explain myself to you, sweater vest. Your son is literally right next to you wearing a sweater vest. Ugh. Why did you make that noise? Are you mad? Well, obviously. Good. Your sweater's terrible, and I want you to feel bad about it. The burn tells me it's working. Okay. I like my sweater. I'm sure you like huffing glue, too. That doesn't make it right. What? Why is this man so aggressive? How can you be so aggressive and wear a Hawaiian shirt? I don't huff glue. Where did you get that impression that I do? That is slander. I wonder how Hideaki knows what slander is. Maybe Jigoro is a lawyer. I can sort of see that, although I thought only TV lawyers were this antagonistic. I don't know if I should take the chance and ask if that's his job. He's right, it is slander. Are you a lawyer? And then you still did it anyway. I was guessing. A guess based on the fact that you are stupid. Why is how can anyone talk like this? It's like how you are assuming I am a lawyer, except you have no reason to think that. You want to know what I do so badly? Why don't you pre-order my autobiography? Now you are insulting my book, and by extension my entire life. What gives you the right to do so? Why? When did I insult your book? And that's such a jump in logic. Arrogant. I'm trying to think of how I could make you understand my struggle, maybe by beating you with my autobiography. I hope you walk away from the beating having learned a valuable lesson, like not making assumptions. You assumed that I huffed glue. Assault? You're assaulting me? He made an assumption, but he made an assumption too, that I huffed glue. I consider calling him out on this glaring example of hypocrisy, but I don't think it's worth it. He had probably explained his way out of it by saying, "Shut up, boy." Back in my day, children were seen and not heard, and to be an adult meant having experienced many hardships. With even a glance, people could instantly judge a man's character. Childhood existed only to temper you for adulthood. It's a boomer. Oh, I'm allergic to boomers. They give me tummy aches. When you look at me, can you not see the catalog of my experiences, even at a glance? I can see that you have decided to carry around a sword and wear a Hawaiian shirt, and I guess you have a Rolex? I don't know. I don't know what a Rolex looks like. They just look like watches to me. I feel like you'd have to tell me if you had a Rolex, and I still wouldn't care. I'd be like, wow, you wasted a lot of money on a watch. You could just get a phone. Maybe were you a sword fighter? He could also be Hawaiian and a werewolf. True. Wait, didn't you tell me before not to make assumptions? Now you just asked me to assume stuff. And you're saying everyone... And you were saying everyone when you were my age did it. And that had to be in, like, the 80s. That wasn't even that long ago. I'm ready to give him a piece of my mind for talking like he had to walk 15 miles in the snow to ride a coal train, that he had to shovel coal into himself before climbing up a mountain while fighting ogres to get to school. But now that I finally want to fight, Jigoro is happy to have a good thing going, just continuing to ramble about how difficult it was growing up one generation ago, twirling his sword like a baton and stopping occasionally to yawn or check the time. The tardiness of his autobiographer is still foremost in his mind. That means the whole time he's been insulting me, he must have been doing it to pass the time. To add insult to insult, his watch is also really nice. When I was your age, kids had responsibilities. Not like today. Sickening. No one thinks about the consequences of their actions, sir. You need to shut your mouth about thinking about the consequences of their actions. You're the one out here starting fights for no reason. Like, do you not understand that when you do... Maybe your autobiographer talked to you for 14 seconds and decided that they were dipping. You don't have an autobiographer anymore. They don't like you. They do whatever they want, thinking no one will hold them accountable since they are young. It's odd that description could fit Shizune and Misha. I thought something similar only yesterday, but it fits them slightly. But it only fits them slightly. Look at yourself. An amoral, directionless delinquent glue huffer with a complete lack of etiquette and absolutely no fashion sense. You are tomorrow's Japan? Disgraceful. Is this the future of this once great country? Make Japan great again. I know someone you would get along well with. I don't. Who? Who would you get along well? Nobody I have met in this whole visual novel would get along well with you. Don't interrupt. Who? One of your friends? Oh, maybe Kenji. Why would I want to talk to some awful teenager? Have you even been listening? Why are you so rude, boy? Your attitude is not one that will not make you a lot of friends, sir. How do you have any friends? I wish you would stop giving me so much advice, especially since 90% of it is bad. Or at least I wish he would give me advice that he would have the decency to adhere to himself. Yes. Where have you been? What? Not you, idiot. Oops, I didn't notice you there. Shizune smiles and gives a short wave. Her arrival made Jigoro stop talking, so I'm already happy to see her for that reason alone. Misha and I decided to go into town again. Hisao, I noticed you were looking at some clothes yesterday in the store window, and I thought I would go back and buy some of them for you. It was supposed to be a surprise, though. She looks annoyed that the surprise is ruined, even though she ruined it herself. Yeah, like, I didn't know what you had. You could have just... You could have had nothing. Here you go. Thanks. Misha wanted to cut her hair. I told her not to, but she said it was too hot for the summer. Yeah? I don't know, that makes a lot of sense to me. It must be like an oven under there. I want to see it. Where's Misha anyway?
Over here! Hi, Hee-chan! Hi, Mr. Shi-chan's father! Hi, Hideaki!
Merp. Oh my. Misha runs around us once in a wide circle before stopping next to Shizune. For the first time, she hasn't put her hands over my eyes, although now I see she has bags of her own to carry, so it's not like she could have even if she wanted to, which she probably did, although I'm positive she's tried before. Her meticulously styled curls are gone now, in favor of a much shorter, sportier look. Misha looks even happier than usual, probably because she knows she won't have to wake up at the crack of dawn every morning just to do her hair. What is that haircut? You look like an intern! Your old haircut merely made you look like you were wearing a pink judge wig. Judge to intern is a huge demotion. Hisao, is he saying something insulting? Tell him not to insult my friends. Don't insult my friends. Which one of you is talking? Both of us, I agree with her.
Hehehe. What do you think, Hee-chan?
You should have kept it like it was.
Aw, Hee-chan, you look disappointed. You don't like it either?
It looks fine. Well, yeah, I'll admit I kind of liked your old haircut more, but I think this one is nice too. It suits you.
Aw, thanks. Thanks, Hee-chan.
Touching. If you like it so much, maybe you two should trade. You can't trade a haircut. What a shame. Even her old haircut would suit you so much more than your current slacker haircut. Awful. As for you. Actually, this is much less garish than your other haircut. I like it. They just love Misha for, like, no reason.
Haha, really? Thanks, Mr. Shizune's dad.
It's Mr. Hakamichi. Talk like a normal person.
No. I don't understand. Okay. I'll call you Mr. Hakamichi.
It's like speaking to a slide whistle. Contemptible. Where's my biographer? Hideaki? He starts quietly muttering to himself and walks off. I guess a wannabe cranky old man like Jigoro would, at the very least, be hesitant to yell at girls. Suddenly he doubles back, unable to resist his urge to have the last word. And another thing. You do not have to be so loud. I do not like being shouted at as I shout at you.
What? Shouting? I'm not shouting.
I can't think of anyone more unqualified to talk about what's garish or to chastise someone else and shouting at people. It's like a parade of hypocrisy, and the hits just keep coming and they don't stop coming. An unusual reaction seems to be taking place. Misha apparently finds Jigoro funny and laughs pretty much every time he says something, which only makes him berate her harder. I guess this is what they call a vicious circle. Misha's voice is punctuated with explosions of laughter and seems to come from everywhere. On the other hand, Jigoro's is booming and directed like a cannon. In any case, they are both unbelievably loud. The more they talk to each other, the more they seem to play off each other's volume and get louder.
Ow, my ears hurt.
Why are you shouting? Shizune's hands wrap around my eyes from behind, something I'm so used to Misha doing that for the first time I find myself confused by it, since Misha is in front of me. She lets go and holds a finger up to her lips. What a perfect distraction. Now's our opportunity. Let's sneak off. Why do we have to sneak off? Why not just walk off?
It wouldn't be as fun.
Plus we're gonna
PP touch. It's decided. It's a secret mission. Escape without being detected. Extract Hideaki for bonus points.
Already she has simplified the situation into a game. Shizune quietly slides away from the scene and begins edging towards the house. I walk towards it normally. I can't find Shizune at first, but eventually she walks into the main part of the house, sipping a glass of ice water and dangling her glasses back and forth from her free hand. She whips them on as soon as she sees me.
You didn't rescue Hideaki. That means you don't get the bonus points.
If you were also being graded on style, I'd have to deduct points for boring escape. It looked like you wanted to talk to me. I didn't know I had to be stylish about it. You know, some say that the most stylish people are the ones that don't try too hard to look cool. You're really cool. I wonder how it is that I can pick up on her sarcasm so easily, and how hard it might have been for her to learn the concept of sarcasm without being able to hear. I can't imagine it. You seem like you're in a good mood. Although I guess it isn't really a good mood, it's more that she seems very excited. I'm in a bad mood. Setting her drink down, Shizune sits down on the couch. I liked her regular hairstyle so much more. It looked so pretty. It was refined and meticulous. Now she looks too sporty and tomboyish. Bro, your hair is short. Why do you care? I wouldn't call Misha refined or meticulous. That sounds more like you. You should give it a chance. Grow your hair out and make it look like drills. Actually, maybe that suits you just fine. Shizune rubs the frame of her glasses roughly, looking annoyed at the implications behind what I just signed to her. That's fine, because I was totally implying that. She moves a little closer to me when I take a seat. I'm a tomboy? Well, no one would call you a tomboy based on appearances. Shizune glares at me unamused. I have to fight to keep a straight face. Maybe you two should trade haircuts anyway. You sound like my father. That was the point. It was a reference. It was a joke. Haha. It's true. Shizune giggles noiselessly as she sees my displeasure at the realization. Jumping to her feet, she twirls an invisible sword in her left hand while standing up, militarily straight and grimacing. A terrifyingly accurate impression. Anyway, I don't take advice from anyone who wears a blue sweater with brown pants. Where's your sense of color coordination? Dreadful. But changing my haircut, that might be fun, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be? I want to see how everyone would react. You must really like playing with people. Sometimes I think a little too much. No answer. The way she fiddles with her glasses, brow furrowed, tells me that it's because she can't. It's fun. Then, with more confidence and while pulling herself closer to me, it's fun to drag more and more people into my life. Oh. Don't drag them. You can escort them, you're not supposed to drag them. That sounds uncool. It sounds forceful, but I guess you're a forceful person, so maybe you prefer the dragging. The dragging and the forcing. I wonder if I'm included in that number. I want to ask, but I'm not even sure how I would. Shizune wags a finger preemptively, indicating that she won't be answering such a question anyway. She reaches for her glass, but doesn't seem to realize how far she's managed to inch away from it all this time. To prevent herself from tipping over clumsily, Shizune tries to grab onto me and ends up pulling me on top of her. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Wee-woo. As I lean over her, I can feel the heat coming off her body and realize how close we are. I can hear her soft breathing and the slight rustling of her clothes as she momentarily fidgets about. A blush starts to creep into her cheeks, but her eyes stare straight into mine, dark and unblinking. It's the same look from the first time I saw her, piercing and devoid of any clear emotion, just waiting to see what will happen next, like the eyes of a cat. It makes me feel uncomfortable, so I leave, being looked at in such a way. This is the first time I've been so close to her for an extended period of time, and the mood is different now. The situation now isn't the same as a passing touch of hands or her and Misha's usual game. Shizune's fingers weave together tentatively, but she makes no move to sign. The look in her eyes isn't just nothing, like I thought. It's more like expectation. I wonder if maybe I've been following the string of her expectations this entire time. I feel her grabbing me by the shoulders and then gently but firmly pushing me off of her. I roll sideways onto the soft couch and pull myself into a sitting position less than a foot from her. The way I feel, she might as well have thrown me 10 yards. When I think about it, this is perhaps one of the biggest drawbacks to sign language. Shizune said that the fact that you have to sign your words out with your hands means you have time to reflect on what you say before you say it. But on the other hand, it also means that what would normally just be an awkward silence becomes an insurmountable wall. I'd just blurt out anything to try to dispel the tension I'm feeling right now if I could, but I can't. I mean, you can, but she won't hear you. Ordinarily, I think that what would be normal would be to apologize and maybe leave. but right now I wonder if that is even applicable. I can't get past how guilty such an action would seem, like I were just slinking away. Of course, it's not like you just fell. You fell onto her. Why are you making it seem like such a big deal? Just be like, oh, sorry, and then drink juice or something. That would just be insulting to both of us, so as much as I don't want to, I apologize quickly, so quickly I forget to sign it. Then I go back to my room and pass out. Sighing, I let myself fall backwards into bed. I wish I could just go to sleep right now, but I feel wide awake. Uh-oh. Ma'am, can you get out of my room? Get out of the guest room that I have deigned mine? You also didn't close the door. I sit up and I hear the door closing and open my eyes to see Shizune sitting in a chair in front of me. She asks a question that goes right over my head due to my surprise. It's not a feeling I'm good at concealing, and I don't think it's what she intended. Whatever she was saying, she backs off and doesn't attempt to sign again for a while. This is the first time I've been in your room. This isn't really, yeah. Shizune tints her fingers and puts on an exaggerated attempt to make herself look embarrassed and modest at the thought. I can't appreciate the joke, just the fact that she's here has me feeling a bit scattered. Very funny, this isn't even my room, it's your guest room. Besides, you and Misha barged into my room once before. It seems as if she expects me to say more. I remember feeling very panicked when they burst into my room, afraid of what conclusions they would jump to seeing the wall of pills lining the place. I don't think that Shizune remembers, though. It made you nervous. The way she says it so factually stings me. A lot of things make me nervous, like you're one of them, yeah, like you just being in my room that is your room. With a question mark? Because you're overeager to always get people involved in whatever you're doing, whether it's joining the student council or even taking a break, whether they want to or not. She signs almost at a crawl, her hands pausing mid-sentence far too much, causing the words to dissipate formlessly before I can even begin to try to understand them. I try not to let on that this is the case. It seems to work, but she looks a little sad, and I regret that I have nothing to say to snap her from the strangely wistful and distant expression she is wearing. All I can do is wait for her to come out of it. You are right, I want to drag everyone into my life, but lately I'm no longer sure if it's the right thing to do. I enjoyed you taking me to your favorite restaurant the other night. It's not like that was my favorite restaurant. I have others I like. I might even be able to rank them by number. Really. This chair is so hard. I want to sit on the bed. No. You can't sit on the bed. This makes me uncomfortable. Motioning to her to go ahead, I wait for her to get off the chair and take her place when she does. Though I didn't intend for it to be, she finds it amusing. Close your eyes. No. Why? It's a surprise. I don't like your surprises. I decide to humor her and close them. I can feel her leaning over me, and suddenly something soft and moist touches my lips. My body tenses up in surprise. Fortunately, not as awkward a reaction as I could have made. It was just a quick peck, and I almost think that's the end of it. But then she kisses me again, more deeply this time. Her hands slide onto my shoulders, up to my neck, and then back down again, then across my shoulders and down my arms. I can feel the weight of her body on my legs, and the eroticism of the situation isn't lost on me. At this point, I'm ready to try and open my eyes just a crack, but as if expecting it, she puts her fingers on my eyelids. Uh-oh. I don't like that shuffling. Seconds later, something... Ma'am? Something ties my hands together at the wrists, and I panic. Not knowing what to make of this, my first thought is to ask Shizune what she's thinking. Even though she can't hear me, I'm sure she gets the gist of it. She won't let go of my hands, tracing her fingers over them, from the lines of my palms over my knuckles and to my wrists. I don't like this. You can't just put this music. as on. You can't just put this music on as if this man isn't about to be, like, molested. She done. Also, he could just sit. He could stand up, I think. When did I thought they were sitting on the bed. When did he sit on the chair? This is inconsistent. Hello, I would like to call the continuity police. Hey, what are you doing? What's this? I say to the deaf girl. Or, of course, with my hands tied behind my back, I might as well be gagged. A part of me can't help but think that this is what she intended. She has cat face on? As if reading my thoughts, a mischievous expression lights up on her face, but her blushing doesn't fade. In fact, it only deepens when our eyes meet. Embarrassed, she leans deeper into our partial embrace, hiding her face by burying it into my shoulder and neck. Her hair is soft and tickles me, and I let out a laugh, knowing that she won't hear me, won't be offended. Shizune's hands move downward. Oh no. Her hands disappear from view, only to jerk back on touching my pee-pee hard. Shizune almost falls off me from nervousness. Ma'am, what did you think was gonna happen? She's like, whoa. Whoa. You like this? I was expecting you to, I don't know, cry. I'm not into it anymore. If you're into it, I'm not. We're not doing it. Calling it off. It's like she didn't expect it to be there. The sudden display of naivety is the starkest contrast yet to how forward she has been so far, and I find it amusing. Suddenly she seems very immature again, a high school girl playing the role of a more aggressive woman. Is that not exactly what's happening? She pokes at my penis curiously with her index fingers. Finger one. She's not doing both of them. She's not double booping the PP. Her face reddening as she runs the rest of her fingers down its underside. Her movements are soft and curious. She didn't just grip it. They belie the embarrassed look on her face. It's likely Shizune is as nervous as I am, and I'm a bit relieved when she stops her exploratory prodding. Are you relieved? Do people not like when they get pee-pee poked? But then I think about what's next to come. She might try to unbutton my shirt. Who knows what she would say. Seeing the scar on my chest, I'm still self-conscious. I thought you were wearing a sweater vest. She would have to take your sweater vest off, though. I guess she could just lift it up. I don't know. I'm still self-conscious about it, and I can imagine the concern on her face on seeing it, the tinting of her fingers in thought. Is like the tinting of fingers like sign language for Luckily in this position, she couldn't take off my sweater without ripping it off me. The fear fades from my mind. Now I'm only experiencing a strange, comfortable mix of anticipation and nervousness. A newfound lightness on my knees brings me back to reality, and then there goes gravity. And I can see Shizune standing on the tips of her toes to slide her underwear down her thighs. When she sees me looking at her, she tries to cover my eyes with one hand. I wonder exactly when it was that I started being attracted to her. Not just attracted to her physically, but drawn to her. And I wonder why. She's pretty, but you know, I could do better. But then also very combative. Not just that, but she seems to like being that way. The way she's acting now, however, and at other times, doesn't really fit that image. I'm starting to think that maybe her tying my hands might have been for more reason than just the most obvious. Still, that aggressiveness that she flashes around as comfortably as a business card is real. I don't know whether or not that kind of attitude could be considered dangerous. If it is, I wonder what kind of person that makes me. It was probably the first week I was here. What a time to monologue. You know she can't hear you. A week doesn't sound so long when I think about it, but at that time it did. Even though I pretty much thought my days were numbered that week, it still seemed to go by so slowly. Even if she can't hear me, it puts me at ease. I started to realize that I didn't have that much to complain about, but there's still... well, never mind. She glances at me for no reason other than that I'm talking. Because she can't understand what I'm saying, Shizune becomes increasingly flustered, but doesn't sign anything in reply. What is happening? You can't just do that! You can't just lower yourself onto the PP like that! Ma'am? Ma'am? Has it just been out this whole time? I don't remember. I don't remember her whipping it out. I don't like this. I'm not reading this. You can download the game and read it. I don't like this. Oh my god, she's crying! Why? Why has she gotta cry? She doesn't like it! No! I don't like it. What do you mean from both ends of your body? What's happening on the other end? I mean, it is, isn't it? Is it not? I don't know if I should, like, I guess I don't have to physically edit. You can't see anything. It's just an implication. I don't think implications are against the rules. I mean, she's not doing anything as far as we know. She's just sitting there. She's just being weird about just sitting there. Nope. No. No, don't just plunge down. You were already in pain, and your eyes are all watery like you're gonna cry. Don't just plunge down, you psycho. I don't like how just, like, chill, absolutely just non-reactive Hisao is. He's just blank face, doesn't have a thought in this world, like, not into it. He's like, wow, this sucks. This is the worst PP encounter I've ever had, and I've shut my penis in a door. So, like, keep that in mind for reference. Just take the glasses off. They're gonna get fogged, especially y'all so close to each other just breathing. Fogging up glasses. Also, wouldn't you just hurt yourself? Ma'am? Look at him! He's not reacting! I don't like it. It's weird. It's weird. His face is so blank. It's like, give me a kiss, please. The door wasn't even shut when I last saw it. I wish that it would have one of those moments where it, like, jump cuts to what's happening outside, and and Jigoro and Misha are still just screaming at each other, and it's to the point that, like, Hideaki has already left and is, I don't know, looking at cameras, and they're just increasingly getting louder. They're tortuous. Tortuous. I wish she would speed up. Don't look. She's doing her best. Listen. I mean, it hurt her. So she's probably trying to not be in pain. Selfish. I don't know. Don't like that. She said, she can talk. Or I don't know. Can mute people, Because that requires vocal cords. I don't know how being mute works. I thought being mute was a psychological thing and less of a physical thing. Maybe it is. Maybe it's both. I don't know. I'm distracting myself from whatever the hell is going on in this thing. Oh my gosh, she's gonna have a heart attack again. No! No! Hisao, you can't just do that. You can't just be shooting off inside people. God, ain't you afraid of catching the Perganinant? You're already way past holding hands, like, you're just throwing caution to the wind. Afterwards, I listened to the sound of my heartbeat slowing down. Oh my gosh, he doesn't. Is this going to be the route where he doesn't have a heart attack from pee-pee touch? Actually, I don't think it happened with Rin either. Until it reaches its normal rhythm, I listen to the sound of breathing, because that's cool and not weird. Glasses are slightly askew, and this is the first time she isn't messing around with them in some way. I want to straighten them for her, but the second I try, I'm reminded that I cannot. Shizune seems to have forgotten it as well. Instead of getting up, she presses herself against me in the chair to extend her reach. Sorry. Allergic to this nonsense. To extend her reach, it's almost as if this is the only position she can think of to untie my hands from. That is what I think as I feel her unbinding my wrists. However, she doesn't get off me. Her fingers gently stroke against mine, occasionally bending inwards to run over my palms. It's funny, but I feel more connected to Shizune through this simple act than before. Shizune stays pressed against me like this for some time. It's a little uncomfortable, but it makes me feel happy, as if I could stay like this for hours. Guess we're not going to talk about the fact that you just splurged inside of her. She definitely needs to go to the bathroom. Okay. That's a decision. That's a decision. Yeah, we're just gonna act like that didn't happen. That's for the best. Alright, well, I ain't got much to say on all that. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's, yep. That's what it is. And I will, hopefully have more to say in the next video.